2,300. It's not the number of people at a concert, nor the number of people at a street protest. It's how many people walked together for 3 whole days in Argentina in mid-August. They weren't there for a hike, nor were they there to protest anyone. They were there to pray, and to do so, they walked 100 kilometers. But that's not the point of the story, as significant as the number is. The point is, what happened when they arrived? And to understand it, it is best to start from the end, that is, from the threshold of a basilica, and from there, go back to the beginning of everything. On Sunday, August 17th, after 3 days of walking and 100 kilometers under their belt, the convoy arrived at the Basilica of Our Lady of Luján, Argentina's national shrine. No one stops them at the door, and no one turns them away. They enter, and inside the basilica, Eucharistic adoration and the rosary take place. But the thing for which they set out and walked for 3 days is not celebrated. The Mass in the traditional form inside that basilica cannot be said. The exact phrase is from the organizer, and I'll quote it without changing it. Today, it's not allowed. The Archbishop of Mercedes Luján does not allow the traditional Mass to be prayed inside the basilica. It's not a decision made this year, and that's the first thing almost everyone is saying wrongly. That statement dates back 2 years. In the same interview, the organizer also explained how long it has been going on. This is why, for 3 years, a field mass has been celebrated during the pilgrimage. So we're not looking at a newly introduced ban. We're looking at the 4th consecutive year in which Mass is celebrated outside, under the open sky. And so, the question that opens everything else is this. If the door has been closed for 4 years, why have there been more of them this year than ever? This is not a rhetorical question, and to answer it, we need to go back 3 days to the moment the convoy set out. We set off on August 15th, the Solemnity of the Assumption, from the Church of the Immaculate Conception, in Rawson, in the province of Buenos Aires. This year's motto is taken from the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verse 27, and is Christ's words from the cross, "Behold, your mother." It's not an easy journey. It's 100 kilometers of rural roads, passing through a few villages, spread over 3 days in Argentina's August, which is the height of winter. Mass is celebrated daily in the traditional form of the Roman Rite, on altars set up outdoors along the route. Nothing else is missing. Rosaries, meditations, confessions, and Eucharistic adoration, in an atmosphere that the organizers define as penitential. The declared model is the French pilgrimage from Paris to Chartres, the one that every year fills the streets of Beauce with 20-year-olds carrying banners. Among the priests present this year are Father Raúl Olazabal of the Institute of Christ the King Sovereign Priest, and Father Augustine Marie Aubry, prior of the Fraternity of St. Vincent Ferrer of Chemeray. It's not a mass of people walking, and this is the second thing that is usually misunderstood when looking at photographs from above. The organization is in chapters, groups of at least 7 people with a leader who acts as a link between the organizers and the pilgrims. Each chapter is dedicated to a Marian title or a patron saint, and arises from a group that already exists: friends, a family, a college, a study group. The organizers' words on this point are precise. It's not a mass of people walking towards Luján. They are all groups, Christian cells. The stated idea is that these groups, once the pilgrimage is over, return home and continue to function as cells where everyone finds themselves living. And so, the next question comes naturally. If it's not a protest, if it's not a party, and if there's no congregation behind it, what exactly is it? There is no political program behind it, and they are the first to say it. There is no congregation behind this, nor even a political group. The three pillars are summarized in an easily remembered acronym, which is also a cry for help. They, sacrifice, prayer, sacraments. However, it is not clear why the Mass ended up in the camps, unless we go back to 2021 and a document that changed the rules. In that year, Pope Francis published the Motu Proprio, with which he brought the celebration with the pre-reform missal back under the control of the diocesan bishops. From that moment on, the possibility of celebrating the ancient Mass in a specific place depends on the bishop of that place, and the answers vary from diocese to diocese. It's not me saying it, it's the organizers' own words. Unfortunately, Pope Francis's Motu Proprio has made it much more restrictive. In some places, it's not allowed, and in others it is. It depends on the bishop. It remains to be seen who made the decision and on what basis. Because personal preference is one thing, the application of a law is another. In Lujan, the answer was no, and not for lack of trying. Organizers say they met twice with the Archbishop. However, they did not obtain anything regarding the Mass. They did, however, obtain permission for Eucharistic adoration inside the sanctuary. And it must be said, because it is true, no one, therefore, has excluded them from the basilica. The distinction is subtle but crucial. They can enter and pray, but their Mass must remain outside. And this distinction, for those who have walked 100 kilometers, is the difference between arriving and not actually arriving. This pilgrimage wasn't born big, and no one planned it to become one. It began in 2010 with a handful of people and without a single mention in the newspapers. This year, the event reached its 17th edition, and the number of participants exceeded that of 2025, setting an all-time record. This is no small detail. It means that the curve is rising in the fourth consecutive year in which Mass cannot be said inside the arrival sanctuary. No one has offered an official explanation for why the curve has risen in recent years, but the numbers are there, and the organization itself published them. However, not everyone reads it this way, and at this point, the opposite reading should be taken in full because it has serious arguments. The Motu Proprio of 2021 entrusts the diocesan bishop with the regulation of those celebrations, and a national sanctuary is the place where that responsibility weighs most heavily. It's not even an absolute ban, they add. Mass is celebrated every day along the route, and adoration inside the basilica has been permitted. Those on the other side respond that a Mass that can be said anywhere except the place you are walking towards is a concession that empties itself. There is one last thing left, and that is the reason the organizers give when asked why they are doing all this. They don't talk about controversy, and they don't talk about vindication. They quote a phrase from Pope Leo XIII and use it as a definition of what they seek. There was a time when the philosophy of the gospel governed states. This is from Leo XIII. What they add afterward, however, is theirs, and that is Christianity. 3 days a year, they say, you can breathe that air. 100 kilometers of dirt roads to breathe it in, and then a door that ultimately opens only halfway. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.